Okay, so a couple picks later, someone who was interested in Michael Penix were the Las Vegas Raiders. They also had a very head scratching pick by taking Brock Bowers at 13.
12-win season coming, baby.
Not that Brock Bowers is a bad prospect by any means. People had him as a top 5 player in the draft potentially, but the position that he plays, and then given that when the Raiders were there at 13, I thought for sure we were going to see Terrion Arnold or Quinion Mitchell come off the board. Or could have been another edge rusher. Like no defensive players had been taken at that point. So I was really surprised, given that they already have Michael Mayer, that they actually went ahead and took Bowers there. Brock Bowers himself, see this hit right here, Jack? He admits he was shocked the Raiders selected him. I'm not going to sit here and say the Raiders failed the draft or anything. Like some people hate this selection. He's a great player, so you can't get on him too much. But it was definitely a little bit of an eyebrow raiser where you're like, okay, like, was this really the guy? But you must have loved it.
Oh, I was saying that's what the Falcons should have done.
Yeah. You were sitting there pounding the table for Brock.
Yeah, you had Kyle Pitts. I think to have 2 very solid tight ends is a luxury.
Mm-hmm.
We debated recently who the best tight end in the country is between Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers.
Now they're both
in the same team. And for a young quarterback, too, to have 2 massive, huge security blankets.
Now, by young quarterback, what you mean O'Connell, or do you mean like whoever they draft in the future?
Either one.
Okay.
Either one. To have a guy with both Michael Mayer and Brock Bowers, you can't do many weapons. And I like the 2 tight end look. I seriously do. And I was getting heat in the comments for saying the Falcons do that. Well, I mean,
no, you were.
You were. I mean, me and the Raiders GM, we have the same brain.
The Raiders have like the worst history of drafts. That was really funny. We're in our group chat and Jack's going like, you see, this is the right way of thinking. And Ziggy's like, yeah, because that's who you want to be compared to, the Raiders. But you know what? Like Brock Bowers is a great player. So Ziggy, what did you think? We had Jack who loved it. I accepted.
I'm not going to say I loved it. Okay. I was a fan of it because I could, joke around about it. But no, I didn't hate it. It was fine.
Look, first of all, this means that they think Michael Mayer sucks and will never be a good NFL.
That was actually what I was wondering.
It's not quite trading Josh Rosen away after 1 year. But if you take a tight end early in the 2nd round and then you immediately draft a guy to start over him, that means you think this Mike, after signing a big free agent, Harrison Bryant, again, not like the biggest name in the world, but a good tight end. This means they think Michael Mayer sucks and will never be a big producer. So the thought that they now have 2 really good tight ends is probably false. Setting that aside, maybe Mayer shows something. Maybe
I think Mayer will be a solid tight
end. I get why they didn't take a quarterback. They didn't want to trade up too much. I understand. But you had defensive players. You had tackles. The Bowers pick, it's just, look, he's a very good receiver, right? It is likely that Brock Bowers is, I shouldn't say likely. There's a good chance that Brock Bowers has a few seasons over 1,000 yards. That'd be like a very good career for him. If he has 5 seasons in his career where he goes over 1,000 yards, over 5 touchdowns. Is that really worth the number 13 overall pick when you've got holes on almost everywhere on the roster?
Mm-hmm.
It's tough for me to see it. I get that he's a special athlete. I get that this is a guy who can run really well. I know he didn't do some of the combine stuff I wanted, but he's probably athletic. But I worry about drafting a small tight end who can't block, who's not good for inline work. Like, you need him to be a great receiver. And if you look at what big-bodied slot receiver mismatch production is in the NFL, you don't need to use the number 13 overall pick on it.
Yeah, I would have gone with one of the corners or one of the linemen, because there were still no corners had been taken, and a lot of the good linemen were still on the board at that point. I think a lot of Raiders fans probably would have preferred that, but I mean,
people are just incredibly overconfident that Brock Bowers is going to turn out to be George Kittle. By the numbers, it's likely that Brock Bowers becomes barely an above average NFL tight end, even though he's a special prospect.
I mean, by the numbers, no one's supposed to be good, Ziggy.
Yeah, so this is why you shouldn't be overconfident and take guys at unimportant positions with early draft picks.
Like a running back.
Yeah.
All right, well.
Yes, thank you.
Well, yeah, it's one.
But tight end is only a marginally better position than running back with respect to this. And the difference between, like, the thing that tight end and running back have in common, if you look at the historical record, we are really bad at predicting who's going to be good at these positions. And indeed, like, I get that Brock Bowers is a special prospect, but a lot of the special tight end prospects have not been all that great. So I don't know. I'm not convinced this is a great pick. I don't really like it. I don't like doing this into interior offensive linemen. But hey, it's the Raiders are doing their thing. They're going to try and repeat what the Falcons did last year, where they just surround a bad quarterback with a bunch of weapons, and they're going to have similar results.
I actually think Gardner Minshew can be like, if you give Gardner Minshew's in Vegas right now, he's probably going to be the quarterback next year. You give him Devontae Adams, Brock Bowers, Mayer, trying to remember who's Jacoby Myers is there. Like that's an acceptable offense. I actually think the Raiders are in a position where they won't absolutely suck. And the defense came on towards the end of last season. Like the Raiders might be a team that surprises people with how they play. But yes, I still think that in terms of the future of this team is not Gardner Minshew or Aiden O'Connell. And is Brock Bowers really the best way to be competitive in 3 years? Probably not. But look, I can't complain too much if you get a top 5 overall prospect in most people's eyes.
I mean, I think a tight end is such a huge luxury to have.
Oh, it's great. It's great. And if he lives up to the hype, he'll be amazing. And
tight end is a great luxury to have. What the Raiders have done is they've put in central heating and cooling without building a roof.
But look like the Heath Millers, the Jimmy Grahams.
Well, I mean, I'm not. I'd be pissed. I think I'd be genuinely pissed off if Brock Bowers was just Heath Miller.
The Jason Wittens.
Yeah, if you get a Hall of Fame tight end out of Brock Bowers, you're happy with the pick.
Like running back's useless. Tight end's not.
We could sit here and talk about running back, but we'll move on here to.
Well, look, I'm just saying, let's not forget Heath Miller is an above average outcome for a tight end taken in the first round.
Yeah, but if you're a Raider fan, you'd be furious if he's just.
Then you shouldn't be taking Brock Bowers in the first round. It's that simple.
But also, Brock Bowers, he's a different tight end than Heath.
Oh, Heath Miller was good.
No, Heath Miller was very.
Heath Miller was very good.
I don't mean to diss Heath Miller. I'm just saying Heath Miller is more. Brock Bowers, you're expecting some explosion. Heath Miller was not he's like Kyle Rudolph.
He's better than
Kyle Rudolph.
Brock Bowers, I don't know, he reminds me a whole lot of a smaller Eric Ebron, but who knows?
Well.